Hey guys, welcome back to another week of online learning. So, we are going to talk today about the factors that impact a business profitability. So, without any further ado, we will get on going. Just my screen here. All right, guys. So, what we're going to be looking at today are these are the following terms. Profit, I'm sure most of you have heard about it. You've heard me discuss it ad nauseum. But the profit motive, and that might be a little different or new term for you guys that we're going to get into today. Income and expenses, cost of goods, operating expenses, gross profit, and net profit. And those are very two distinct things that we need to make sure that you guys are fully familiar with. Okay, we'll talk about factors that impact the profit of a company, whether it's the economy, demand, chance, or pricing. Explain ways that businesses can increase profit. There's only two, and defend a business's need to make profit. Okay, so what is profit? What is that evil thing that everyone seems to think is so bad? Ooh, look out for those big companies, those guys, those evil companies that are trying to make a profit. Well, simply put, profit is the reward that a business owner receives for all the risk that they took for investing in a business in the first place. I mean, there should be some sort of reward when you take the risk as a basketball coach. When they take the risk, of shooting a shot, the risk is that it won't go in, but the reward is that it does. So there should be some sort of payoff. Otherwise, why get involved in that? What the owner gets in return for putting in his money, the time, and the skills into their business, shouldn't there be a reward? And that's what we call profit. Okay. Now, the profit motive, that is the desire to make a profit. I can't think of a single businessman that I've met in my career who did not want to get into business. And making money was not at least in the top three reasons why they wanted to get in. Sure, they wanted to help the environment. Sure, they wanted to give back to the community, but somewhere in there's got to be, and I wanted to make money. And it's disturbing to me how now in the 21st century our culture, our economy demonizes those who want to make money. I think that the days of making money at the expense of your employer, of your employees, or the environment, you don't see people dumping toxic waste into the ocean anymore. You don't see oil rigs spilling all over a playground. Those things that are sensationalized in the media and depicted on television sitcoms, those things don't exist in real life. Most of those things they happen by accident. I'm not saying they don't happen. What I'm saying is that no good businessman worth his salt wants to, spend their time and money and energy in lawsuits defending the backhanded ways that they use to make money in the first place. So, as we look at income, that's any money that comes into the business. Income is different than profit. Okay? Make sure we know that. Income is different than profit. Income is any money that comes in. Okay? Any money that comes in. Give me a pause here. It is important for us as managers to make sure that we know where that money is coming into or where it's coming from and how it's being used. Okay. And 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, money coming in is used to cover expenses. And there are two kinds of expenses. The first is the cost of goods. Okay. Cost of goods is just basically the price for the raw materials that you need in order to make sales. Okay. In the restaurant, cost of goods was ingredients. Okay. In production, it might be steel, it might be wood, it might be anything that you need in order to fabricate and produce the final item. So that's a cost of goods. Okay. The second expense that you have is operating expenses. These are the things that you need to run your business. Operating expenses are, their payroll, their maintenance, their taxes, rent, the phone, the internet, all the things that you need to pay, whether you're in business or not. And as we've discussed during this pandemic on how businesses have taken a hit because their income or the money coming into the business has been significantly reduced, their costs or their operating expenses, some may be reduced by having reduced staff, but when your rent is it's $5,000 a month for a retail space and you don't have guests coming in, next month's rent is $5,000. So there are some sunken costs or some fixed costs that cannot be changed regardless of how the income is impacted. Okay? Now, gross profit. There's some gross profit and net profit formulas here that I want you to know about. If we ever do get back together, there will be some math and there will be the compilation of an income statement from a business standpoint. And these are things that you need to get very familiar with in management, because no matter what level of manager that you are, somebody above you is going to want to know where's the money. So to calculate gross profit, you take your total income that you get in. Remember, income is all the money that comes into the business. So you take your total income and then you subtract off your cost of goods. Because remember, you need to be able to pay for the cost of goods in order to generate sales. Okay. So, for example, let's say that you in a month made $100,000 of income and you needed to spend $25,000 in cost of goods to maintain an inventory, whatever that might be. Your gross profit would then be, yes, $75,000. Thank you so much for answering that correctly. Now, you may rewind and go back to that if you need to. So $75,000 is now your gross profit. Yay, we made money. Hold on. Didn't make any money yet. We still have some operating expenses or some OPEX, 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 operating expenses that we need to pay. So we take all of the rent and we take all of the salaries and we take all of the taxes, we take all of the OPEX, and we come to find out that it costs $40,000 of operating expenses just to run the business that generated $100,000. Well, now that you have that $75,000 of gross profit, you now take the $40,000 of OPEX and you subtract it from that, and you are left with, come on, you can say it. Yes, $35,000. Okay. So what was your margin that month, or what was your net profit, your final reward? You were left with $35,000. Wait a second. I thought you said that I made $100,000. No. Remember, income is not the same as profit. Yes, you might have taken in $100,000 that month, but after you were able to pay the bills because you needed to order all those cost of goods, that inventory, you have to pay for that. Then you have to pay for the operating expenses. What you are left with is called net profit or net income, and that is your final reward. Follow? If you do not, please feel free to pause, go back, and take a look at this slide, and this should give you a good idea of where you start with income, income, cost of goods, gross profit, operating expenses, net income. Okay, moving on. There are a lot of factors that impact profit, guys. We're living in those times right now. External factors, the economy, sure. Remember, we live in a competitive economy. We live in a capitalist society. So it could all depend on how people are feeling. The economy is all driven on confidence, the demand for your particular product, or in our specific case right now, unexpected events. There is no way that anyone could have predicted 3 months ago that this COVID-19 would have such an impact on our economy today. So those are some significant factors from an external standpoint that impact profitability. Internal factors that impact that would be the expenses. How much money are you spending in salaries and in wages? How much money are you spending in that retail space? Do you really need that 20,000 square foot retail space, or can you do it in 5? So there's, what are your expenses like? And then your pricing. You might have, let's say that we have an item that, after the cost of goods, and we figure out we're going to sell that item for $2. Well, if it costs us $1.75 to make, we're only making 25 cents. Perhaps we need to increase that price to $3 so that our profitability increases, or whatever it is that might be, whatever the market is. Remember that example of supply and demand. We've got to find that equilibrium, that place where we can charge enough for a price to where demand is still high and there's, supply is low, so we're not keeping a lot of inventory. We don't want to tip it to where the price is too high. Now all of a sudden demand falls, we have too much supply and we have to lower our prices. So when you're trying to find that balance, we're trying to find that equilibrium, a high enough price to make money, but not so high to where nobody wants to buy our product. Okay? There's only two ways to increase profitability, ladies and gentlemen. There's only two ways. You can either increase revenue or decrease spending. Simple deal. Okay? That's all I got to tell you. There's some examples that I've laid out here, but on an assessment or in life in general, there are only two ways to increase your profitability, and that is to increase revenue or decrease spending. Think about that in your own personal budget. How do I get more money? Well, you either work more hours or you spend less money. Simple deal. I'm going to move on now. Okay. If profit is so important, why are businesses portrayed as evil? There's a nice little video that I want you guys to kind of take a look at and see if it kind of puts that in perspective for you. Okay. So that concludes our lecture on factors that impact a business's profitability. As managers, guys, your bosses are always going to want to know, what are we doing to maximize profitability? Yes, we need to, we need to make sure that we're bringing in as many sales as possible or as much income as possible. But there are factors that impact that. How are we going to stay afloat, I might ask? How are we going to maximize profitability? And you can't just lay them out, well, we can either increase revenue or decrease spending. You'll find yourself out of a manager job, okay? So you've got to know what the external factors are. You've got to be able to know what your internal factors are. You've got to be able to know about pricing and external factors, things that are going on today in society. I'm sure every boss in America knows that the COVID-19 is, something that is an unexpected event and they couldn't have planned for it. But what are they doing to ensure that we just don't close up shop? We just don't go away. So how are we going to manage through it? That is really one of the things that we need to know about as managers. So here's what I'd like you guys to do. Okay. I'd like each of you, after viewing that one YouTube video that I gave you the clip for, I'd like you to record your own short video and defend, you're a company, you're an owner, defend a company's right to make profit. I'm sure that you could find tons and tons of examples on how our society or our media or others or politicians demonize a company when they make, quote, too much money. As a matter of fact, those companies that make too much money, they're the first ones that our politicians want to go tax for more money. Because God forbid you as a business owner become extremely successful and you want to make money. Someone will always want to get a piece of your action. Okay. So give me a short video and defend a business's right to make profit. Okay. I'd like you to do this in the style of an ethical dilemma. Okay. So have an introduction, make two claims, have evidence and analysis to support that claim, and then wrap it up with a conclusion. Okay. Make sense? Good. I'm going to give you guys until Wednesday to do this. Okay. This lecture will cover 2 days. I'll check in with you guys on Tuesday. Okay. So take the next couple of days, take Monday and Tuesday, and figure out exactly what you want to do. Review this lecture slide. Contact me with any questions or comments or concerns that you might have. There are many, many different ways to record a video and get it to me. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. Okay, guys, I hope you're doing well. Believe it or not, I miss having our interactions together. I hope that this will pass soon and that we will get back to the classroom and get back to our business management activities together. So thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.